It is indeed very fortunate, Sir Leon, that the government have decided to use this site for the purpose of the development of the new art gallery. We expect this is going to be a building of architectural merit.
Yes.
And in fact, the site is extremely well related to the city. The area itself is somewhat depressed at this stage, but we expect this to be the first major building coming up in this area. And no doubt, all this will disappear in a very short period of time, and the whole south bank, the whole south side of the river will, in some 10-20 years, will assume a completely different picture. You would agree, I suppose, that the relationship of this site to the river, to the city, to the views all the way around, and generally to the town planning situation in Brisbane is extremely suitable. And we do really expect that in not too distant future, in fact by sometimes like by second half of 1977, the building will be, the new art gallery building will be standing here.
Yes, I entirely agree. I think it's an ideal site because you've got everything really in its favour. You're close to the city, you've got the river view, which is something we like to talk about because it really is a beautiful city. This will beautify the area. It'll be close to the town for people to come over at lunchtime and go back. And what's more, of course, we start off with nothing, you see, with bare land, and so we can design a gallery as a new one, the same as the Melbourne Gallery have done, and other people, which is a great advantage to us, don't you agree?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the traffic situation, or rather relationship of the site to the traffic connections and so on, is extremely suitable. And we expect to have it's only a walking distance from the city. We expect to have not only the visitors from the city, but also buses visiting from all over the state, in fact.
Even the Commonwealth.
Even the Commonwealth.
In other words, it'd be very nice something to work with.
Yes, I expect to have a very good cooperation.
Art Gallery, Mr. Pavlyshyn, take 2.
In 1971, Mr. Hodges, Minister for Works and Housing, and Sir Alan Fletcher, Minister for Education and Cultural Affairs, have appointed a steering committee for the Queensland Art Gallery, and the steering committee has, in the next 6 months, prepared a very comprehensive brief on the requirements of the art gallery, on the generally has carried out a number of feasibility studies, have come up with description and statements on the philosophy, what the building ought to be and what it should accommodate.
Yes.
And as you have been the member of the committee yourself, Sir Leon, you would know how helpful actually the brief and the report has been in further development of the concept. And one important thing which the committee has recommended to the government was the method by which the planning and the construction of the new art gallery ought to be undertaken. And in fact, the decision was then later on supported by the cabinet that selection of the architect should be on the basis of a two-stage selective competition. This, in fact, has been carried out and has been very successful. Another very important matter with which the committee was concerned was the method of selection of an architect for the art gallery. This is indeed an extremely important decision to make in relation to the future success or otherwise of the development of planning.
Yes.
And the recommendation which the committee has made to Cabinet was approved, and the selection of an architect was decided to be on the basis of a two-stage selective competition. And we, all members of the committee, are very much satisfied with this decision, and we're looking forward to a really successful operation in this regard.
Yes.
Art Gallery, Sir Leon Trout, take 1.
You know, Mr. Pavlyshyn, I think that you would agree with me when I say that this is one of the most delightful sites we could possibly get in Brisbane. You've got the river bank, and of course the Brisbane River, I think, is one of the most beautiful rivers in Australia, which makes Brisbane such a lovely city. Wouldn't you say that would be right?
Sir Leon,
And then you have the advantage of having starting from fresh, the ground roots as it were, where we can build a completely new gallery, which has much to commend it, such as they've done in Melbourne and elsewhere. And I think this will add to the beauty of the city, increase it very greatly, really, and it should be one of the sites that tourists will come from all over Australia. And if we get paintings which are worthy of us, which we have today, and we may get some more, we'll probably have people coming from all over the world to see this building when it's finished. And you feel that way about it?
I fully agree with you,
Yeah.
Sir Leon. I think it's something to look forward to.
Yes. It won't be long enough for it. Yes,
Very
right.
considerable
Yes.
expansion for a number of years.
Yeah.
Art Gallery, Sir Leon Trout, take 2.
In this design, Mr. Pavlyshyn, we are providing for extensions for the future building. And one of the things I think which is terribly important is this is a Queensland art gallery, so we'll be able to store our paintings here and we'll be able to send them all around to Queensland for exhibition and also see that they're viewed to the best possible advantage. Not only inside, but we also hope the building will be attractive outside so that people can, it'll be an adjunct to this beautiful city of ours on the other side of the river. And then eventually this side of the river will be similar to that. So we can then have a complete entity, as it were, of the inner city. Would you go along with that?
I quite agree. We are providing in the brief for immediate expansion, but then the plans will have to be flexible enough to provide
Yes.
for future expansion at a later date.
Yes.